I am still waiting on an answer about the breach of information that affects constituents and their information, and whether that personal information, medical information, disability information by DOGE is any way being used for purposes other than they are intended. So I will look forward to having your office work with my office, and I ask for your commitment today to receive a response to that inquiry.
Yes, sir.
In a spectacular confirmation of what we all figured was already happening, a whistleblower from the Social Security Administration has come out alleging that DOGE staff uploaded the personal data of hundreds of millions of American citizens and residents to a very vulnerable cloud server. The whistleblower says that this could jeopardize the safety of all of these impacted Americans, but it also violated federal privacy laws. But in a country where supposedly no one is above the law, it kind of seems like there are a lot of people that just are these days. So can we expect any kind of retribution? Personally, I'm not holding my breath. This was done within the Trump administration. This wasn't some rando leaker who just gave all of our private personal data to whoever.
It includes people's names, their social security numbers, their dates of birth, their addresses, citizenship status, even their parents' names, all of it stored in this cloud server. Now, Charles Borges, the whistleblower here, says that the copy of the database apparently lacks any security oversight from the agency or even tracking to determine who has access. And he wrote in this complaint, should bad actors gain access to this cloud environment, Americans may be susceptible to widespread identity theft, may lose healthcare and food benefits. He went on to say that the government could even be responsible for having to reissue every single American a new social security number at great cost.
So here's the reporting. The complaint from Charles Borges, the chief data officer at the SSA, alleges that DOGE staffers effectively created a live copy of the entire country's social security data from its numerical identification system database. The information is a gold mine for bad actors, the complaint alleges, and was placed on a server without independent oversight that only DOGE officials could access. These actions constitute violations of laws, rules, and regulations, abuse of authority, gross mismanagement, and creation of a substantial and specific threat to public health and safety, the complaint states. The database that was uploaded to the cloud includes names, dates and places of birth, race and ethnicity information, names of family members, phone numbers, addresses, and social security numbers. So basically all of the personal data that you definitely wouldn't want unknown or bad actors to have access to. But something that people love to say whenever confronted with data leaks or security breaches is, well, I have nothing to hide, so I don't care who has access to my information. That's great, but that's not what this is about. Placing a live copy of American Social Security data in a cloud environment without independent oversight puts everyone with a Social Security number and their families at real risk of identity theft, interrupted benefits, and tax or medical fraud that can follow them for years. And that was from Andrea Metza, the Director of Advocacy and Strategy at the Government Accountability Project and the legal counsel on this case. Borges, who joined the SSA just as Trump was inaugurated this year, had previously worked as the Chief Data Officer for Naval Air Systems Command. Before coming forward as a whistleblower, he says that he did bring up his concerns internally for weeks, and then when nothing was done and nothing changed, he decided to go public with what he knew. In response, the Social Security Administration denied the leak and said this via spokesperson. SSA stores all personal data in secure environments that have robust safeguards in place to protect vital information. The data referenced in the complaint is stored in a long-standing environment used by SSA and walled off from the internet. We are not aware of any compromise to this environment and remain dedicated to protecting sensitive personal data. But this isn't the first time that this issue has been brought up. When DOGE was ravaging our government and all of our sensitive data, it touched seemingly every department of government. There was no oversight from external groups, and DOGE was demanding access to systems that only highly vetted individuals were supposed to have access to. Once they did gain access to various systems, sometimes employing bullying and intimidation tactics to obtain that access, they then covered their tracks so that it was difficult or impossible to see what exactly they did while they were in the system. In April of this year, a different whistleblower said that DOGE likely took sensitive labor data from the National Labor Relations Board, an agency that looks into complaints about unfair labor practices. The agency stored sensitive data, including information about employees trying to form unions, proprietary business information, and ongoing legal cases. And I know it's hard to remember what the situation was like back in March and April, but at the time, DOGE and Elon Musk were adamant that the agency needed access to all areas of our government to ensure compliance with the new Trump administration's policies and to ensure that these agencies were run as efficiently as possible. But it was all just a scam, as there's no way that Elon Musk and his team of teenage coders could plausibly be the best people to optimize areas of government that they know nothing about, right? It was also kind of brilliant to call it the Department of Government Efficiency. They knew what they were doing because on one hand, no one is mad about efficiency, especially when it comes to tax dollars and the way that they're being spent. But on the other hand, most Americans who fell for supporting DOGE had no idea what Elon's idea of efficiency even meant or what it was going to look like for the American people. It was intentionally named to be vague with a very positive connotation, and in the name of efficiency, the MAGA crowd supported DOGE, freely and willingly granting them public approval to access our government's most private and most sensitive data. Here's reporting from NPR from April discussing how and why leaks like this one could be problematic, even for Americans with quote-unquote nothing to hide. The employees grew concerned that the NLRB's confidential data could be exposed, particularly after they started detecting suspicious login attempts from an IP address in Russia, according to the disclosure. Eventually, the disclosure continued. The IT department launched a formal review of what it deemed a serious, ongoing security breach or potentially illegal removal of personally identifiable information. The whistleblower believes that the suspicious activity warrants further investigation by agencies with more resources, like the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency or the FBI. The labor law experts interviewed by NPR fear that if the data gets out, it could be abused, including by private companies with cases before the agency that might get insights into damaging testimony, union leadership, legal strategies, and internal data on competitors, Musk's SpaceX among them. It could also intimidate whistleblowers who might speak up about unfair labor practices, and it could sow distrust with the NLRB's independence, they said. So as I said earlier, am I expecting any kind of retribution here? No, I'm not, at least not for a while. And even if it does come, it appears that the damage has already been done. The Trump administration loves to brag about how quickly it was able to get so many things done once they were in office, but that speed wasn't just for kicks. They wanted to get in and do what needed to be done before people started to catch on to what was really happening. Now that we have caught on, though, the question is, what can be done about it? I don't have that answer for you, but hopefully we will get more insights into that question if and when more legal experts and government officials get involved, all right? That's it for me. If you got anything out of this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks.